Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Clancy, the Weight Loss Warrior. Sorry for the delay in posting. I had ordered some equipment, and when it arrived, it did not arrive with all of the parts. So it took me a while, and then life kind of just took over. So I'm sorry for the delay in posting, but I'm finally back, and I'm so glad that you guys joined me here today. Let me begin by saying that I am not a doctor or a medical professional. So this is not an advice channel. So I am here to answer any questions that you guys have and give you what suggestions that that I have used, and you are have the option to follow what I have suggested, but please do not take it as advice. You should always consult a medical professional before starting a major weight loss journey. So, sorry, I've got some notes down here. Let me just jump into my notes for today. Bear with me, guys. I am very, very new to this, and I'm probably the least tech savvy person, so no idea how to edit. I don't have any software for that. So all of my videos will probably have to be done in one take. So I'm so sorry. But let's just start with what I've got down for today's video. Let's start with things that I wish that I knew before starting my weight loss journey. And I don't really even refer to it as a journey anymore. It is my lifestyle. Recently, over this last weekend, I was staying with a friend at her parents' house, just kind of having a laid back weekend. And her dad over dinner asked me, well, when do you think that you'll go back to like eating like you did before and reintroducing carbs and things like that into your diet? And my answer was pretty frank. It was that I don't plan on ever going back to the standard American diet. I know what sugar and carbs make me feel and how they affect my body. And I feel like I really abused my body for the majority of my life by consuming the standard American diet and all of the basically the poisons that are in our food here. So this is not a diet for me. It is a lifestyle. It's very sustainable for me, and it's been working. I'm down 135 pounds in a little under 3 years. So it works for me, and I just don't see myself ever going back to consuming sugar and carbs. One thing in particular, I know I have mentioned this in a previous video. I really wish that I had never started buying any of the treats. A lot of the treats that you'll find in stores are labeled like keto, and you have to be very, very careful. This is also something I have another video on, but you have to really look out for things that say sugar-free or there's so much mislabeling and mismarketing, and that is to make money off of you as the consumer. But you have to really make sure that you're getting good, clean ingredients. But not that I have made many treats. I have bought like the healthier flours, coconut flour, almond flour, things like that. But I think I have 2 bags of each that I got because they were decently priced. I got them on sale, but they're unopened. I know that I have disordered eating, so making treats, special things that I don't normally make or consume on my diet is just a slippery slope for me. It just makes me want to sneak in and eat more of it, and then I want to get into the jar of almond butter that I have, or I want to make an extra protein shake because it's chocolate flavored. Like I start craving these indulgent things when I consume any kind of sugar, especially the artificial sugars. And I could name several. There are several. You have to be very, very careful because there can be 6, 8 of the artificial sugars in one package of something that's labeled health food. But they will spike your insulin sometimes 8 times higher than your normal cane sugar, which is just going to make you crave more sugar. So you just really want to watch out for those things. But I wish that I had never stumbled across like Quest bars. Don't get me wrong, they're delicious, and they do have decent ingredients in them, but their main ingredient is erythritol, which is a sugar substitute. Um, it just makes me want more. And I try never to buy like a box of them. I'll buy like one or two and try to save them for like a weekend and then save the other one for like the following weekend. But it almost never fails because I trick myself into thinking that I can stay away from it. But as soon as I eat the first one, it's 2 days before that I can, only about 2 days I can talk myself out of going in the cabinet and eating that other one because it literally just calls to me. And that may just be a me thing, a me problem, but I wish that I had just never even started buying any of those kind of like healthy labeled treats, so they call them. Just because I always sabotage my journey a little bit for at least, a week or so. I stall out, I get bloated, I don't feel good, but it's so tempting. So I wish that I had just never even gone down that road. But it's something I'm really, really working on. I'm trying to completely steer away from that. I do have a few things in the cabinet that I'm going to try to make last the entire summer, and I don't plan on buying any other like nut butters or Quest bars, or every once in a while I'll have some really, really dark chocolate, but I don't even plan on buying many more dairy products like cheese. I still use the Nut Pod creamers because they only have 1 gram of fat, and that just a little splash with some flavor in it when it only has basically less than 1 gram of carb per tablespoon, and it's a 1 gram of fat. So it's a really good, nice fueled way to break your fast. That's probably, that and butter are the only 2 dairy products that I plan on buying any more of. I'm really trying to go as clean as possible. Also, something I wish that I had known before starting this lifestyle is just slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race, right? You don't want to make a mad dash to the finish line. The slower that you lose visceral fat around organs and then visible fat that you can visibly see on the outside, the slower that process happens, the less excess sagging skin that you're going to have. Which is something that I kind of had in my mind, but there were about 6 months that I was losing weight at a rapid pace. So I do have some saggy skin, but it's something that I'm working on. So I just wish that maybe, because I was doing a lot of walking at the time, and I was also in the gym. I wasn't trying to bulk up my muscle because I was really focused on just trimming the fat itself. So I wasn't really trying to bulk up at all. So I wasn't in the gym like lifting much. I was really doing a lot of stretching, a lot of being on the treadmill. I do, and this is something I still really enjoy to do, is I'll get on the treadmill, I'll set it at a pace. I'm 6'2", so I have a long stride. So I'll set it to a comfortable pace, but then I set the incline as high as I can possibly stand it. And I will just book it for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Sometimes if I'm just having a day where I have a lot of pent up energy, sometimes I can do it for an hour or more. And those are good days. I always feel, they call it like the runner's high, but my treadmill high. But, if I can really push myself, man, it feels so good. And I love getting on the treadmill. I know it's not everyone's favorite. It's a little bit boring, monotonous sometimes, but I listen to a lot of podcasts, I read a lot of articles, so I catch myself doing that a lot, and before I know it, it's over. But like I was saying before, you don't want to lose weight too quickly because you don't want all of that excess skin, because if you have too much hanging off of you, it's going to be difficult to tone that up, especially if you're a little bit older in life. It will be harder to tone that up because you don't have as much elasticity in your skin. So just slow and steady, take one step at a time. Make sure that you're not losing like 20 pounds a week, which is possible when you start flushing out a lot of liquids that you have in your system, a lot of waste that you have in your system. Did you know that you can hold up to 80 pounds of excess waste inside of your intestines and colon? That is absurd to me, just absolutely mind-blowing, but it's true. So when you start cutting out all of the processed junk and the sugar and especially carbs, make sure you're drinking a lot of water, but you will go through this like whoosh. You will just start dropping weight. You'll be using the bathroom excessively. Don't let this alarm you. It is a natural process. You are flushing out toxins and just waste that doesn't need to be in your body. And especially when you're fueling yourself with fat and you start becoming fat adapted, that whoosh is going to happen pretty quick. So especially if you're working out and exercising, make sure you're drinking lots of water and you're eating a little extra protein because you don't want that weight to come off too quickly. All right, let's see what else I have here. How to begin. Even on bad days, remember how far you've come and how far that you will be if you stick with it. That is definitely something that when you're having a rough day, you want to be able to look back and be like, you know what, I did that. And no matter what stage you're in, you know, I lost 10 pounds. I lost 35 pounds. Oh my gosh, I've lost 50 pounds. That's a milestone. And then it just keeps going and going and going. So on those bad days especially, remember how far you've come and remember that you can do it. Look how far you've come. Stick with it. And the sky is the limit. So remember that. Another thing is to have realistic expectations. I'm 6'2". So I'm probably not going to lose as much as someone who is, 5'6" or 5'8". It's going to come off of my body in other ways, different ways than you or the next person. So have realistic expectations. Get comfortable with the shape of your body and have a lot of self-talk and be realistic with, I've got some saggy skin here. By the end of the summer, I think that I can probably tone that up. I don't need to have, skin removal surgery or anything like that. Also, it took a long time for us to put on this weight. So we can't expect it to just come off overnight. So let's be realistic with the fact that, this is a lifestyle change. In order to be fit and healthy, it's one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. How do you eat an elephant? Not in one big bite. You eat it one bite at a time. So have realistic expectations. Also have support. Whether it's a really close friend or a friend at work, like a coworker, have someone willing to be your go-to, your outlet. There will be tough days when you want to quit. So someone that you can trust and talk it out with is going to be really, really beneficial because they can basically, build your confidence back up in yourself because they believe in you and they love you and they're gonna push that towards you. Believe in yourself and love yourself enough. Have enough self-respect to stick with this because in the long run, this is going to be such an important thing that you do for your health. It's always fun also to just have, a cheerleader, a friend in your corner that can cheer you on. Let's see what I've got here. Also, don't forget to keep track. In the first 6 months of my journey, I didn't have a scale, which is something that I greatly regret. I base my initial weight, like my starting point, off of the scale at the doctor's office. So when I started, I was a little over 320 pounds. I like to give it some padding and say a little closer to 330, excuse me. I pretty soon into it, I realized that I really needed to buy a scale. So I ordered one. I also got one of those soft measuring tapes so that I could take my measurements. Even if the scale barely moved in a week or two, your body composition is going to be changing, and it is crazy. It is really startling sometimes to see how much your measurements and your body composition can change in even just a week or two. In order to keep track, make sure you're taking your measurements. Sometimes when I haven't lost as much as I wanted to, expected to, planned to in a month, I can go back and see my weekly measurements, and it blows my mind. And that in itself is so encouraging, and it really keeps me on track most of the time. So make sure in order to keep track, you take your measurements, and that it's helpful to have a scale. Not necessary, but it's helpful. And it can also be another source of motivation. So my diet update, I have now lost 135 pounds. As of last Monday, 2 Mondays ago, I was down 140, and I don't know what happened, guys. Like I really don't know what happened. Like I said, life kind of happened. I've been extra busy and working about 20 extra hours than I normally do in a week over the last couple months. So I've just picked up a lot of extra hats to wear. But also I've had some medical things going on for the last year, and finally had an appointment on Monday to kind of try to figure out what's been going on, and kind of hit another roadblock. They had no suggestions really, so I'm probably gonna have to try to get into a specialist. So if you guys are interested in any of that, like I'm happy. I'm an open book. I'm happy to share all of that with you guys if you're wanting to know. But I think maybe I've just been kind of stressed out in anticipation for this doctor's appointment, because it's been on the books for over a month. I've been waiting for it, and then I'm not gonna lie, the night following my doctor's appointment, I binged, and it was that is something that I greatly deal with. But I will say, in 2 years of my lifestyle change, of my journey, I have not binged, and I think there's really no excuse. I did it to myself, and I realized that I am the only one responsible for my actions. And something that I had planned on doing, and I took about 8 whole hours to consider, was doing a extended fast. I do a lot of intermittent fasting, a lot of extended fasts, and I do them for multiple reasons. But I had planned on, after seeing, because my weigh-in days are Mondays, so I always weigh, take my measurements, log it in my journal, and I was pretty devastated stepping on the scale Monday morning to see that I was up 9 pounds. So I don't know, I was in a pretty negative headspace all day, and then I went into my doctor's appointment that I had been looking forward to for over a month, and just high hopes and setting the expectation a little high. I think I should have not set the expectation so high and not allowed myself to get let down. So I kind of hold myself a little responsible for that. They just were unable to help me. So I binged that night, and on healthy foods, but I overdid it. And that only set me back even further. So I have really buckled down since Monday night and basically gotten back to the basics, what I know best, what I know works, what works for my body, and just jumped right back on. And I decided that I was not going to punish my body for a mistake that I made. I knew what binging, I knew what overindulging throughout the last week on like dairy products, cheeses, heavy whipping cream. I made like a little homemade Alfredo sauce for some shrimp I had, and I had that 3 days in a row. So I overdid it on things that I don't normally do, and then add the binge on top of it. So I talk a lot to myself. I have to do a lot of positive self-talk and really just conversate with myself, because at the end of the day, I am the decisions that I make, and I know what works for me. So just get right back to it. So going forward, like I said, I'm not going to be buying any more like nut butters or just special products that are unnecessary to my health and my journey, because they are a pitfall for me and they just steer me off course. And I basically just trick myself every time that I buy them and consume them, that something's changed and I can miraculously take those and not have any kind of side effect from them. So going forward, not going to purchase any of that stuff, but also just going to keep at it and try to encourage you guys. Please feel free to ask me any questions that you might have. I'm happy to share anything that you guys want to know about. I'm an open book, like I said. If you want to follow and like and hit the subscribe button so that you get more videos from me, I'm going to do my very best to upload a couple more videos this week and then the following week, and can't wait to see you guys back here on my channel. This is the Weight Loss Warrior. I'm Clancy. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.